Incorporated, 400 Southbridge Street in Auburn, Massachusetts, 1-800-657-9126. A member of FINRA SIPC and are not deposits, not insured by FDIC or any governmental agency, not guaranteed by Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank, and subject to risk, may lose value. Webster 5 Cent Savings Bank is not affiliated with Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated. The information contained in this report does not purport to be a complete description of the securities markets or developments referred to in the material. The information has been obtained from sources considered to be reliable, but we do not guarantee that the foregoing material is accurate or complete. Any information is not a complete summary or statement of all available data necessary for making an investment decision and does not constitute a recommendation. Any opinions are those of Michael Carnevale and not necessarily those of RJFS or Raymond James. Expressions of opinion are as of this date and are subject to change without notice.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Long Hill Report. And as usual, we have Mike Carnevale to tell us where the economy is headed or where it's been, whatever he wishes to do. Welcome aboard, big guy.
Hello.
He's not taking me seriously. Why should he be any different? All right. Last month, October, we saw a decline, third straight monthly decline. Monthly declines?
Third straight monthly? Oh, well, that's a different indicator.
Yeah, different indicator.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's normal. That's a very normal thing. October ranks in the middle of the 12 months. It's usually volatile. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Volatile.
Usually very volatile.
In the 73, 74, which most of our listeners probably weren't even born.
Then.
That was I was, but you know.
Bottom of the
big bear market.
The ending point, yep.
And the bear market up 16% after that. Crash of 87, which was a big thing.
Right, it was.
It did look for a day there that the world was ending.
Coming to an end. Well, it was the biggest daily decline.
Yes, and
dropped 22% in a day.
you could have. I was working downtown Worcester at the time. You could have set off a nuclear bomb in down Worcester, and the big news would have still been that 87 crash.
Yep.
It was just down 22%, as you
It
said.
really was, yeah.
All right, the last two
Last two Octobers were positive, but didn't carry over to a third.
You want to make a conclusion here?
No.
No, he doesn't.
Because
actually it happens.
Yeah.
It's ongoing.
You know.
The saying is, sell in May and go away, come back on Halloween Day.
And it worked out again this year.
Okay, so we're back. We're making money.
Because the recent low was around October 31st, and been
we're
pretty
up
good
to-
since then.
We're up to 34,000
Yes,
now.
yeah,
But then again, Bitcoin is up to 36.
it is.
So is that the future? No, he's not going to tell you that.
You don't know. Depends on the day.
Yeah, it depends on the day.
And what Tom Brady says.
Tom is not going to jail with Sam Bankman-Fried.
No, but he's still waiting for Bitcoin to get back to what he paid for it.
Anyway, so sell in May, go away, and come back on Halloween Day, trick or treat, and it worked out.
It worked out this year.
Yeah, only 22% of all gains since 1945 have occurred during this period. That's the sell in May.
Right.
Come
Yes.
back. So go away in the summer, people.
Next 6 months are the best 6 months.
Best 6 months.
Period.
Okay. Now, 2023, Dow began at 34,098.
Yeah, the sell in May, at the end of April, the Dow was
It was
basically at
down
34, it ended at 33.
33. Back to 34 right now as we're doing this.
Correct.
That was a loss of 1,045 points. or 3.1%,
Mm-hmm.
which is something.
Yeah.
But then it bounced back. So
Right.
why are we even here?
Well, again, it's, I
We
think,
had nothing to do.
it's cold outside, you know.
Yeah, I saw this guy walking around. Why don't you wear a jacket? I'm even inside where it's warm, and I'm still wearing
I've got a jacket,
Oh, okay. Well,
but I
anything-
figured I'd take it off.
and that's all you'll
inside,
take
'cause
off, please.
Because there's heat in here.
All right. Okay. All
Um,
right. So where were we? Year to date, it's really unchanged, you're saying,
Unchanged for the
basically?
Dow, yeah.
So it's been just a blah year, really. if you
Yeah,
think.
well, you know, most people are more tied to the S&P 500, and that's actually up 10% for the year.
Which is very respectable.
It is. Yeah, so most people, I
And
would say,
NASDAQ is killing it.
yeah, not too many people are totally in the NASDAQ, so most people have made a little bit this year, you know, between the Dow at 0 and the S&P at 10s. Somewhere, it hasn't really been a bad year. And I think most people are surprised at that.
Well, anybody, I don't know if people really realize this, but the company has has a 401k. They probably even know about the NASDAQ, Dow,
Right.
and yeah. But anybody who has their own self-directed IRA probably does know that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the average of them are in the S&P.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay. So the bonds up 5.07. 13-week treasuries are 5.33. 10-year at a 16-year high. The yield curve still inverted, negative 47 basis points. So that isn't predictive of
That's predictive of a recession.
but it never happens.
Hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
And it's been inverted for well over a year now. And all those numbers, you know, the 30-year Treasury at 5.07, it's really improved since the end of October.
Okay, well, we'll speak about maybe speak about if we get to it, what the Fed is going to do or not going to do.
Yeah.
And now, of course, as a astrologer, as you as an astrologer, last odd year, November, was up 2001 time. So you're taking it, 2019 was the last odd year.
That the market went up in November.
And that has some significance as you look at your charts.
No, just says
Just
that
for fun.
for fun, an oddity, you know. I mean,
Well, you know, there's nothing happening in the real scientific stuff right this month.
Not really, no.
We don't have any playoffs or any
Nothing
the
to
series
really-
is over.
Nothing. The World Series this year did not help.
No.
Didn't matter who won or lost. Ideally, it would have been better if both could lose, but they didn't. So there was really nothing to say there. Not that we weren't spending a lot of time looking for something, but couldn't find anything.
No, this was the Sox have gone back to the way I remember them in my childhood.
As have the Patriots in
Yeah.
my childhood.
Okay, short-term sentiment signals worse may be over. The 200-day New York Stock Exchange moving average is at 26% versus 44 a month ago. 40 is basically oversold.
Right.
So
The lower the better in that number.
you know, people are thinking it's time to go buy.
That usually occurs after prices have really dropped.
So it's just oversold. It's not really deeply oversold.
Oh, it's deeply oversold. Yeah, oversold begins at 40. Now it's at 26. So it's at the end of October. It was pretty oversold. But remember, that was when the Dow was at 33,000, which really has been the low point for this year.
Volatility index.
Has picked up. You'd expect that if the market had a bad month. A little more people afraid. Oscillator also very low. You'd expect that too. And greed and fear index rather high. You'd expect that too. So if you didn't know what if all you saw were those technical indicators, and you didn't know what happened to the market, and somebody said, hey, how do you think the market's doing? You would say, based on those indicators, I would say the market probably dropped during the month. And sure enough, it did.
Yeah.
And that's really all those indicators do. They sort of try to bring in expectations. In other words, well, the market's really down. Yeah, the indicators said it would be down, so you don't get too excited.
All right, I will try to stay calm
Okay.
if you want. So the fear and greed index that you have here, 7 different stock indicators. So just across the board, momentum, stock price strength, stock price breadth, put and call options, junk bond demand, market volatility, and safe haven demand from extreme fear to extreme greed. Who came up with that? I mean, that's just throwing everything like the kitchen sink
Yeah,
into that.
those other indicators, the moving average, the volatility index, and the oscillator, those were developed by investment people. The fear and greed index is put together by CNN. And what they do is they, like for instance, where it says market momentum, that's really the stochastic oscillator. And when they use put and call, we know what that is. That's people betting whether the market's going to go up or the market's going to. Market volatility, that's the volatility index. So that Greer and feed index, fear index, is just something that CNN has put together. And actually, it's called the CNN Fear and Greed Index. But no, CNN didn't develop that or anything. Whereas those other indicators were developed by, various stock market research people over the years. I think the volatility index was founded in the early 70s. And a lot of this is trial and error, trying to, see trends and then back testing it and things like that. But, if you wanted to look at just one indicator, you'd look at that fear and greed, because that would take into account a lot of them.
Okay. Well, since we've been talking last few years, it's been an up, not too far up, not too far
Right.
down, but it's gone like that.
Mm-hmm.
When, ladies and gentlemen, you don't see us here, you know it's time to just go away, because we will have gone away.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, I mean, not much has happened in the last couple of years.
No.
And, the market has stayed around the 33,000, goes up to 34,000 where it is today, then it starts to drift back down. So there's no real long-term direction. It's sort of like, in the middle of nowhere right now.
Well, that's encouraging.
Well, I
And,
mean,
it's all right.
the good thing is, the all-time high was 36,000, so it hasn't really dropped a lot with all we've been through. I think that's the,
Well, right
encouraging
now
sign.
we've got aircraft carriers over in the Mediterranean. This place where the war is a tiny spot on a map.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fraction of Massachusetts, I believe, in size. And I got a couple of aircraft carriers in there, all kinds of armies there.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening?
Well, you would think, first of all, oil would really be going up. It's doing the exact opposite.
I went to I pumped gas, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and I was amazed at how it had dropped.
Yeah.
And I guess it's the Saudis saying, yeah, we may not pump so much.
Yep.
Which should drive the price up.
Right.
So life isn't, life, we could have the big one dropped. But other than that, what are we worried about?
That's right. I mean, but it's funny, people will say, oh, with this thing in the Middle East and the Ukraine oil is going to really go up. Well, it's doing the exact opposite. I think it's now $75, $77 a barrel.
What? WTI?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. How about Brent? Is
That's
always
higher,
up,
yeah.
always higher.
Yeah.
But what is the measure? I mean, obviously, Saudi Arabia is pretty far away from Texas. So
Right.
what's the index for the Saudi oil called?
I don't know. Most of the world uses the Brent number.
Yeah.
We use West Texas Intermediate. But I mean, it's just funny how, you know, people are so confident in what they think. Oh, the oil's really going to go way up. It may, but to counter that, we're pumping more oil per day than ever. 13.2 million barrels a day. Hard to see how oil can really go up when you're pumping record amounts of it.
Well, there are a number of reasons, you know. Instead of it being 2-car families, we're 4-car families.
Yeah.
You know, it's what something can come out of nowhere and drive demand.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Some of those factories that have along the, what is it? I think it's 67 in Warren. They've all, since I've moved there, they've more or less closed.
Mhm.
What if somebody started businesses?
Yeah, yeah.
That type of thing could, probably not going to happen, but it could change.
Yeah, yeah. But I think a lot of times people, their opinion is based more on feelings as opposed to, you know, maybe some concrete numbers or something. You know, I got a feeling this is going to do that, and that's I think you can get into a lot of trouble when you base things on feelings. You know, oh, it's going to get really bad. I mean, people have been saying that now for 3 years. It's going to get really bad, and it hasn't.
Well, as a person who writes about history,
Mm-hmm.
it's you got what is your range? If it's 1920 to 2023,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of up and downs there,
Right,
and some of them were earth-shattering.
right.
Yeah, but then again, the world doesn't always end.
Right.
So, we'll keep going.
Yeah,
We'll see you next month, too.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, major news, economy continues strong, and this is one I quibbled with you before the
Yeah.
show.
Yep.
It's annualized at annualized increase of 4.9% for the third quarter.
Right.
I pointed out to you that I had a statistic where disposable income is down 1%, so not everybody is sharing in this.
Right.
Who isn't sharing?
I think it's always the
The poor sap.
people, people at the
Me. No.
you know at the bottom of income and wealth and whatnot. Obviously, they're the first to feel the effects of anything, and they're the last
the
to
first feel the bad effects.
right, and the last to feel the good effects. Right. Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But I think the big thing there was, well, people were saying the economy wasn't growing. And, you know, it's growing pretty good. Now, as you had mentioned, disposable income is down, which would tell you that, yeah, 4.9% growth is good, but inflation is taking that, all of that, plus some. But they're two different items. In the sense that there were a lot of people fearing there'd be no growth. And there is, so it seems like...
what would you think was in that growth included in? Not many new factory openings.
No.
What
No.
would you consider?
Well, besides some of it's inflation.
But that's not really growth.
No.
So basically, that makes it even worse. For the one that makes the 1% loss of disposable income worse.
Right. You know, obviously a lot of services.
And we've
Yeah.
had this discussion before. We
Right.
do have to make something.
Right.
And what are we making?
Not really anything. We're making services. And that's, and a lot of, what's this one they keep saying about, I can't remember the term, but, yeah, you don't need to make TVs anymore, just provide all the services. And
TV, if you've seen a TV, when I was a boy, your TV would break down. You'd call the TV repairman.
Correct.
There are no more TV repairmen.
come out with
There's
a-
nobody servicing that TV anymore.
guy would come out with a big case
Yeah.
full of tubes.
Yeah,
So
I
think-
remember that.
Oh,
That's how old I am, folks. The
you,
Civil War, let me tell you, that was worse for me than you could think.
you're going to get this set fixed by 8 o'clock, right? Oh, I think we can. If I have the tubes,
Yeah.
right?
And then, you could do it a little more, in your drugstores. You could bring your tube and test it there.
Yeah.
Don't see any of them anymore.
No.
We ain't making nothing,
No.
and someday that's got to come a cropper.
Yeah, it will someday.
This guy smiles through
But
he would smile through nuclear war.
it
Look at him. He's just loving it.
It could come. As long as you get the growth from somewhere, right? Unfortunately, all those manufacturing companies, nobody will manufacture it here because of the cost.
So the question to run a good economy in your government, if it was any government, and a Republican or Democrat, if they could solve that,
Yeah.
they would do a service for their country.
Right,
So,
if they could.
That's why if I get up on election day and I don't make it to the polls, I don't really feel I've lost something.
Well, in Massachusetts,
It's
it
a
really,
one-party North Korea,
and even then it doesn't matter because,
even though a Republican was elected yesterday, state senator.
oh yes, I saw that, yeah.
But really, it doesn't matter. It's
No, not in
the
Massachusetts.
cool people in the 490, inside 128.
128, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's see. One of the Fed minutes, September 20th meetings, rates needed to stay high.
Yeah, they said
No cuts.
they didn't cut, but they also said the rates needed to stay high. Oil, we know, has really dropped in the last month or so.
So if the rates are keeping high, how come inflation is continuing?
Continuing to go down?
No.
Oh, the rate the rate of increase is less.
Ah.
Yeah,
Yes.
you wouldn't want to really see it go down,
No,
because then you could be in something like
No,
in the
I would see.
1970s.
I would like to see no rate of. I would like to see a stable currency.
Yeah, no, that would
We
be.
want to be Turkey, which is his favorite country, because he cites this every month, and we're going to go get to that.
I don't think we're going to talk about that type of turkey in November.
But keep the day unemployment guy.
Correct.
All right, the economy continues strong. We already got to that. Higher spending, consumption, and tight labor market. Fed, we did the Fed minutes. Interest rates, Canada. Oh, Canada. And the European Central Bank voted no change.
Right.
But Turkey, you said something about Turkey.
No.
You
No.
didn't have Turkey.
I will have turkey, but it'll be on the 24th.
Turkey?
Yes.
You will have to, and that November will be a big month for Turkey.
Yes, I suspect
But
it'll be
they
a good
probably will not lower their rate of inflation.
month. Most likely not.
Or their interest rates. And I did see somewhere, and I didn't read the article, I meant to, but never do tomorrow. Today, that which you can do tomorrow, which puts Ben Franklin on his head, that Turkey has got to now do something. It's really, no more playing around. The eternal, we're the worst in Europe.
Yeah.
Europe and Asia, interest rates, they can't do it anymore.
Right.
I'm sorry I didn't look at that, because I like to see what earth-shattering thing they were going to do.
Yeah.
All right, oil, mid-80s, and we discussed that a little.
Mid 70s now.
Mid-70s, WTI, West Texas. intermediate, the measurement for crude, is down. Nice to see it.
I got gas over the weekend, $3.19, and I didn't need to have a special membership for anything. I just pulled up to the pump, and there it was, $3.19.
Yeah.
Although I did get out, and I gave the guy a credit card. So no, we don't accept that one. So, but other than that, it was fine. I didn't have to be a member of any organization to get that.
Great, good.
Yeah.
We do have a little bit of the science. The Red Sox finished last in the AL East
In
for
October,
the seventh time since divisional play. Not too often recently, but this year, boom, bottom. Prior 6 times, the following year, Dow was up. So look for a good market next year. We've done the science for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we have.
And inflation, if you get back to the inflation, rate increased in September.
It increased a little bit,
Yeah.
yep. And that caused the Fed to start most recently talking in the last week or so that, well, you know, wouldn't rule out additional rate increases. But the Fed funds futures market isn't still not signaling any more rate increases, so we shall see.
When the ghost of Paul Volcker comes back, we'll know things have got.
The inflation numbers come out always in the middle of the month.
All right, so now leading economic indicators, they were down in September,
Yep.
0.4%. 10 components that give a snapshot of the economy, 9 of 10 were negative. Jobless claims were the only plus. This indicator predicts when a recession begins after 3 straight negative readings.
Yeah, historically, now we're at 18 negative in a row.
So why are they even leading it? Why are they bringing it up?
You got to wonder sometimes. It makes no sense.
Fools give you reasons. Wise men never try. That's from South Pacific. Some Enchanted Evening. I'm not a big theater person, but, you know, it was big when I was a kid. All right, jobless claims, latest 210,000 versus 201,000 a year ago.
Yeah, that's still pretty good because usually in the past it's taken like 250,000 layoffs per week to start to really hurt the economy, and we're still not there.
Okay, all right. You say long-term unemployed. That isn't pleasant to see.
Right, that's gone
That's
up quite a bit.
Quite a bit. It's basically saying there's somewhere out there, there's a lot of despair.
Yeah, those are considered, long-term unemployed are considered people who have been out of work for 26 weeks or longer.
Yeah, and that's, if you think about it, that's not long, but if it's people who just gave up.
Well, in order to be unemployed, you have to be looking. So if you're,
So
if
that's,
you're,
that's the people who, once you go past that.
yeah, once you're no longer getting unemployment benefits, you're not considered
you're not getting
unemployed.
that.
So the number is, like all these numbers, you know, you look at it in relation to what the number was at whatever prior period. But certainly there's more than 1.8 million people not working,
Oh, yeah.
you know. But the definition that's
They
used,
just cleared them out and by the mass and cast.
yes, yeah,
Some of those were probably working one time and probably just giving up,
sure, yeah.
assuming they're not, well, probably by now they're probably got some kind of a habit. But
Yeah, they
assuming
probably can't work now.
Now, just despaired.
Huh?
All right. September saw the employment report, non-farm payrolls are up by 336,000 people. So are those people who just left the farm to get a job in town? No.
No.
Just
Those are people who got jobs but not working on farms. I don't know why they still use that term, but they still do. But it was the best number of the year. And so, and it was the 33rd straight monthly increase in non-farm payrolls. And Well, you look back to history, how many of those do you need per month to, keep the economy going? And you need 150. History shows you need 150,000. So more than double what was needed.
So that is probably the best statistic you've had. This report.
And the labor force grew by 90,000. So not only did more people get jobs, but more people
came online.
Too. That's usually a good sign.
Well,
Wages are still going up faster than are not going up faster than inflation. So if that continues, at some point the rate of inflation will go down.
one can only hope.
Yeah.
The unemployment you have, is that unchanged?
It's unchanged, but still it's the highest, almost the highest for the year.
Well, we've had periods of time when it was over the 3 points.
Oh, yeah.
Three, some odd number, 3.8. You love to see it go down, but it's not horrible.
No.
And the gain of 336,000, that's big. We'll take it.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's, a job is better than no job, right? I mean, it doesn't
Wait a
take
minute,
into...
wait a minute. A job is better than no job.
Yeah, you want to...
We got,
I'm glad you mentioned that, put emphasis on that. 'Cause that might have passed without
it would be
significant. It was a very
put you down.
profound
It
thing,
would
yes.
get you into Bartlett's quotations.
Yeah.
But you know, oh well, I think I'm going to. There's some jobs I could think that would be worse than not having a job.
Well, I mean,
Suicide Squad. I'm not in for.
I understand, but I mean, I think, most people want to work. So if they found work, maybe it's not what they really want to do. Maybe it's not what they, the amount of money they want to make, but it's better than nothing.
I think working is a good idea.
Yeah.
For people, but I think we're going overboard here because if you said to somebody, well, how about if you win Powerball, would you stay at your job? Most people would be, I'm out of here.
I don't know. Sometimes you see these people who, win Powerballs. Oh no, I'm going back the next day. I don't know who these people are, but
I don't either.
I mean, I would be long gone.
There you go, gentlemen.
And it might not take me winning Powerball to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The
wit and wisdom of my Carnevale has fed us wonderfully here today as we end this session. And we'll be seeing, unless he wins Powerball, we will be seeing him again next month. This is Richard Morco. Thank you for attending to the Long Hill Report.